Welcome and welcome back to the Light Renegades. My name is Starr. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. To those that might be new, I was just pausing here and starting at the beginning of this series. Otherwise, this might not make a lot of sense to you. Apologies, everyone. There's still a lot of energy coursing through me, and yeah, it's an emotional day. There's been a lot that I've been told to sit with today, and I'm grateful to be in the position that I am, but I really feel like it's crunch time for all of us to really be facing the deepest, darkest depths of ourselves, which is definitely why I know that this energy, this entity, this being has stepped forward at this time, because they are a true representation of some of the darkest aspects of my past and some of the darkest and most shadowy aspects of all the lives that I've lived. And it was interesting. I sat with them last night in a space of utter despair somewhere. I want to say that this moon hit me incredibly deeply. It was a full moon in Scorpio, the flower moon, and I sat in just floods of tears last night. And the soul stepped towards me, and they sat on the sofa by the side of me, across from me, and they said, somewhere you haven't taken this all in. And they were right. I haven't been able to truly take all of this path in, because it's so out of the parameters of anything that I believe to be true, but yet it's here and I'm living it. And there are things that happen on this path that I'm just in no control over. At least it hasn't felt like I've been. So there's been a layer of surrendering that I've had to do in order to be here that is just nothing that I thought that I would ever experience in a lifetime, in any realm, given space or time. And I just thought, somewhere this doesn't feel real, because it is just so expansive. And I think so many in the collective can resonate with this. And I want to say that, and I shared this last week, that I'm living more than a double life at this time, and it feels like a multitude of everything. And we are multidimensional beings. So remember that. And it's okay. It's okay to be showing up in whatever ways you think is going to be most helpful to you. And believe me, there are days when, none of this matters to me. There are days when I have to be in very specific energies, dealing with very specific things, and that's just part of that day. And there are days when all of this means the most amount of everything to me, and it's all I can think about, it's all I can concentrate on, and I have to be in all of those parameters of understanding. So please don't think if you have a day off from doing this light work that you're not doing the work, because I promise you, you still are. And I have to tell myself to disconnect from the collective energy often. And please know that you are well within your rights to do that. And when I do that, there is a layer of peace that I feel that truly helped me to understand just how connected into I've been helping humanity the entirety of this time. And I think it might shock some in the collective to sink into that notion also. And I've said this before on this channel, so just pop yourself in a bubble, perhaps of your own energy. I love doing that, and it really floored me that my own vibration was perhaps it was most healing to me. And also just ask to be disconnected from the collective energy when you just need those moments of peace, because sometimes this path gets so incredibly dense and there's a lot of things to think about. And specifically when you know that you're a multidimensional being in a multidimensional space. I am so many things at the exact same time, and sometimes I have to feel into a lot of those things at the exact same time, and it's difficult. And Mr. C came in last night and they said, you haven't taken this all in. And I thought, I haven't. And they've said that was been by design, because if I was to try and take all of this in while still pushing forward in moments of this journey, that I just wouldn't have been able to carry on. So I want to say to some of you out there, please, please, please cut yourself some slack, because however you've been trying to get through is your way of coping. And I feel like I've been on the receiving end of a lot of people's fear of this path, of myself, of everything that I stand for, and I understand it. Now that I sink into everything with a lot more compassion in my heart, I see that some people have literally just wanted to end me from being here, because I am splitting their reality in two. And some people just aren't ready for that. I have to trust that everywhere that I'm guided is because, I'm supposed to be there to help and trigger those people perhaps into change. But I understand more now than ever that sometimes people just aren't ready for this. And, it's taken me a long time to understand that, to realize that, and to know my limits with whoever's in my life at certain given moments. So please tune into that expression and just know that sometimes us sharing the full truth isn't going to help everyone to them in that present given time. And this is specifically those that might be on a path that are wanting to help other people. You have to really try and gauge where people are in their expression before sharing everything with them, and knowing exactly how far to go that is going to help push them but not push them over the edge. And, I want to say that teams of light are always guiding at this point. So please know that whenever I share anything, I go back to my teams of light and I ask time and time again, show me a sign, show me a sign, show me a sign before I share what I have to with another person, because otherwise, we get into quite tricky territory and not everyone is ready. And it took me some time. It took me some filtering. It took me some, making mistakes to understand that about this path. And Calvin very much stepped forward and shared that, I knew I was going to share their name today. So yeah, their name is Calvin. Mr. C is called Calvin, everyone. And they sat with me and they just let me share in their energy. And I just thought, I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for everything that they've shared with me, and I'm grateful that I get to just be myself. I'm so grateful that I get to be in a space of just sharing the deepest, darkest parts of me, and knowing that it's going to help others out there somewhere understand who they are on this path and understand exactly what they are here for. So I'm intrigued as to what Calvin's going to share today, because I think I'm going to be put in a position that I'm not sure that I was in cognizant awareness that I said yes to this, but I feel ready for it, everyone. I feel like this is perhaps something that I've been working on behind the scenes, working up to being for a little while. So I'm just going to let them speak through me. So yeah, give me a moment. I'm going to let Calvin forward. I absolutely love being here, and I adore each and every soul here. It has been an interesting and intriguing time for where we find ourselves in humanity's expanse, given the parameters of everything that has come to light in the most previous weeks. We are ready for the next chapter, and we know that you have had this time and time again, but that time to rise has come. That time to rise is now. And what I have to share today is going to help you understand just exactly what has been happening with regards to humanity and this play for the negative reptilian order for some time. They have been going after your consciousness, they have been going after your bloodlines, and they have been going after what they consider to be the purest of energy moving forward. What I have to share is that your own true inherent life and light has been used against you for some time. They know exactly why and how beings trap themselves, and this is what they have been doing. And this soul has been sat trying to put the pieces together behind the scenes, but she wasn't given the full parameters for her to know it would change the course of reality. And this is why we've had to be so incredibly careful and strategic with everything that we've been sharing over here on the Light Renegades, with myself, with other galactic expressions, with other spirits, and allowing for all of this to come together in divine timing. What I have to share today is that moving forward, any member of authority is under the thumb of the negative reptilian order. And this goes across the board. This goes into your lighter spaces right now. Those that are in the public eye, that are famous for being spiritual to some degree, and have a massive, massive, massive following. And they are here to still serve a very specific agenda. And this is something that this soul has been sat on for some time, because this went against what a lot of her comrades shared with her. There were beings that she could see that were still under the thumb and under the strain of this expression somewhere. And we were very careful as to when to bring this information to light, because we knew that this would rock the foundation of so many. So what I want to say is that please be mindful of what you are consuming at this time and whom you are consuming at this time. And this is not everyone out there in spiritual spaces, but there is many, 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 many that are still on this agenda, still on the payroll of the negative reptilian order. And think about it. Think about the times when people rose to fame in this sector. I'm going to give a ballpark frame of in the last 5 years. That's not what we're speaking of. But if you're going back 10, 20 years, 30 years or more, think about it. Would it have been right for a being to be able to be at that height and vibration of a spiritual path without being so under the thumb? It doesn't make any sense given the parameters of what you know in the here and now. So this is where we're getting to the times where we're having to come through just exactly what is going to be helpful for the collective moving forward. And if you start to see the patterns, this is when you can start to reframe how this whole plan has been playing out. And this has been a very long and thought out play from the negative reptilians for some time. And please remind yourself that it is not just these beings. I step forward to you as a vampiric entity, as a vampiric energy, to help you all in the here and now. They have beings of the same understanding, of the same frequency, doing the same with them. So this understanding of spirituality, what is out there, there is a there is a mainframe that runs on the negative reptilian order and then alliances within them, and that trickles down into every factor of every bit of multidimensionality that you could possibly imagine. There are beings, there are entities, there are spirits, there are frequencies, there are animals that are also very much connected to the negative reptilian order somewhere, and this soul has been witness to seeing this plaguing out time and time again, and just being truly bowled over and shocked and baffled and also terrified, because once you know the truth, it is so hard to unsee it. What I want to share today is to be mindful of everything that you are consuming and take a good hard look at everything that you are engaging with, what have been engaging with, perhaps in the last 30 years, because you will start to see that what has been shared with you hasn't been the full truth. And there is still a play for money. There is still a play for your energy, to have your energy go to another being and to idolize them in any way. This is giving your power away, and this is what we want to step away from. This is something that they have been understanding for some time, is just how much other souls want to be led by one another. This is why we had to be so sure that setting up the Light Renegades and bringing forward this space, that you were all going to be able to stand in your own personal power. We knew that we were going to be on the cutting edge of this expansion, understanding that we just want each soul to see each other as one and the same. Incredibly powerful. Every soul here is incredibly powerful. All you need to do is call back your personal power. And the first thing that you have to do is see yourself as the most important being in your life, above every single being else in your life. And this may seem selfish, this may seem counterintuitive if you have others that you care about, if you are particularly a mother or a father in this expression. We understand that. I speak for myself and also galactic beings at this time. But also know that it has to be you driving. It has to be you leading. So think of yourself first. And I feel like what I want to say today is that the fabric of what once was is collapsing rapidly. So it's going to be very important for you to have a stronger footing in what you believe to be your own personal power and your own personal truth. And no one can tell you that but you. The Light Renegades has been set up to give you aspects of self and understanding that you can then take forward and comb through that whole understanding through the fabric and the reality of your own personal reality. It's going to be very important to know who you are moving forward. This is why I've stepped forward in this expression, because I know humans very well. I know the ways that you operate. I know the ways in which you cling to that which you believe to be you, that which you believe to be the highest vibration somewhere. And I want to say that it is very much a trick of the mind. You have to trick your mind into believing something perhaps before you're experiencing it. And this also goes for believing who you are here. Remember, you all came here asleep. You are now waking up to your true soul signature, something that we'll be saying time and time again. You're going to be sick of us all saying the soul signature, soul signature, soul signature. But it's so inherently important that you start to come back to that understanding. What you hold within your DNA is incredibly important. I want to say, do not let anyone else connect to your DNA unless you know them very well. Do not let any being out there suck your blood unless you know them incredibly well. And there is a reason for you coming together. And I'm saying this to those because I think some in the past are now going to see exactly where you were put in situations to be in a very strange situation. And you know now that that's with purpose. And this is only going to make sense to the souls that it makes sense to. And what I have to share in this present given time, I think is going to rock the foundations of so many. Please know that anytime you sit and you consume something that is of the negative reptilian vibration, you are giving them a part of you. You are giving them a part of your essence, of your energy. And there is nothing you can do to stop that unless you know exactly what is happening, unless you keep calling back your power. This is something that we just want to share with everyone. There isn't much more that you need to do in this present given time than just throughout the entirety of the day. If you feel like you are flagging, if you feel like you are tired, if you feel like you are confused, sit and call your personal power back to you and exclaim out to the ether, I do not allow anything to be communicating with my DNA, with my soul signature, with my inherent personal power that is not here for my highest good. I only want to be communicating with souls that are on my life path, souls that are here to help humanity, souls that are here to be experiencing that of the lightest vibrations at this time. And please know that we take all aspects into consideration. Some of you are dealing with darker aspects of the shadow at this time. You've seen this soul go through aspects of that time and time again. But the time is now to come back to you. And there is a play that is happening right now. The soul has mentioned this in the community tab, sharing the aspects that I told her to within all of you. Vampires have been in mass media for a reason. There is very much a lot that is truth that is being brought to you to help frame what they want as a play for them moving forward in the times to come. But we are trying to excuse the perhaps graphicity. Is that even a word? I'm not sure that's the word, Calvin. The graphic nature of this expression, but we are trying to collapse it at the knees so that that play doesn't happen. There are many, many ways that all of this can play out, and some is completely detrimental to humanity. So it's so important that we become wise now, that you become wise now to these tactics. And this is what I want to share moving forward. So remember this. When you are consuming something that you know is of a low vibration, why are you there? Why are you there? Are you there truly doing research? Are you truly there to understand this aspect, or are you still under the thumb? And this soul has had to be incredibly honest with ourselves in moments of our journey, and really had to take a strong look at self and decide to move differently, decide to say yes and no to things that she knew wasn't here for her highest good. And it's been incredibly difficult to say no to some things, to say no to some pathways, because it felt so familiar. It feels so, I want to say, it's enticing, sometimes temptation, and that which you know isn't good feels so good. And this is something that isn't talked about enough or often. But I think I want to pause on that and share that for another time. But I want to say that there is a reason why humanity is being guided to the vampiric energy at this time again. And there is a reason why I am here sharing everything that I know. And I'm not going to go into everything today, because the main takeaway from today is to help you understand just how far and wide and spread this negative reptilian New World Order play has been manufactured to be in every aspect right now. And you all knew there was going to come a time where it wasn't just the darkness that was coming into scrutiny, but also the light. So be mindful of whom you are consuming and whom you consider to be your figureheads, specifically in spiritual spaces right now. And there will be more on this to come. This is not going to be a name and shame game moving forward. We are now trying to move with a lot more compassion and love in our hearts. And we don't say that to say that we haven't moving forward, but we now see more than ever that you will work a lot smoother and a lot more coherently when you're moving with the aspects of love and heart. And we wasn't sure how we were going to moving forward. We always said, please have love and hearts, but there was a lot of you behind the scenes that were still fighting, and some of you are still in those realms. And please know, you can reach out to us if you need help and that understanding. And I will let the soul explain a little bit more about this after I finish speaking. But we didn't know if we needed to continue to fight. But what has happened in the most recent years through the work that so many have been doing and all the different collectives, we now understand that the play moving forward is directly with unconditional love. So please remember this, but also know that it is time to start to understand the spaces that truly aren't here for your highest good, and you will feel it. The energies have been raising to such a degree that you will now feel that which isn't here for the benefit of all. And this is how you need to start looking at things. Is this here for the highest good of all, or is this here for the personal gain of one? And if it's not one, is it of a small collective? Are they here for you, or are they here for what you can provide them? And something that many aren't going to want to hear is that think about all of the people that you would consider to be gurus. They hold that place of personal power because you have been given them that power. And we have seen a few that have been in the public eye come into this understanding too. And we are grateful. We were hoping that so many were going to come to this framework of understanding. So this will not be the only person, the only space within the Light Renegades sharing this. There will be a lot of spaces sharing that they now see what is happening, that there is a lack of authenticity in spiritual places, in lighter spaces too. So remember this, and this is why we say, please try to not judge a book by its cover, because sometimes the most shadowy aspects right now are indeed the lightest of spaces too, because at least it is coming forward in a state of authenticity. If you know that this darkness, this shadow is here for that one purpose, and you can trust that it is there for that one purpose, be aware of darkness masking in the light. Be aware of darkness masking in the light. I'm going to say it one last time so you hear it. Be aware of darkness masking in the light. but I will let the soul explain a little bit more because I've been downloading to her as I've been sharing with you. Also, apologies if this is felt a little bit fragmented. We're still playing all of this by ear. Everything that I share is being so finely combed through in terms of energetic frequency to see what is going to be the best information to share with you moving forward. So know that this isn't just us leading. We are leading with your guidance. We are leading through your energy, through your vibration, and all of you that are witnessing this in real time. We've already captured your energy. This is why this video can be created, and I'm already sinking into those souls that are going to be watching this video in all realm, space, and time. Do you now understand how big this play for the future is? It is not just here. It is not just now. It is everywhere. It is omnipresent. It is everything, and you are all a part of this. So moving forward with unity, with love in the heart, is going to help all of this move a lot more smoothly. And know that you are still fighting, but you are fighting with love. And we understand how difficult and frustrating it can be to feel like you have to surrender and that be the only way that you can move forward. And the soul has been going through this time and time and time again. She wishes to stride forward, and we have to say to her, please stop. Please put 2 feet in the ground and just sink into the vibration and send your love and your energy out. And that's all we need you to do. And she finds that incredibly, incredibly difficult to do at times because she wants to be there. She wants to be on the front line. And so many of you resonate with that energy too. So just know everything that you are doing, everything that you are experiencing is helping humanity. Even when you think that it's small, it is not. I promise you. And please do call out to me. Please know that I'm here to support you. But I want to say to you, do not let anything in through your window. Do not allow for anything to be welcomed into your house unless you are incredibly, incredibly sure what it is. It's going to be so important to be hunkering down on protection for yourself in terms of your energy. And this is not to scare anyone. This is not to say that you aren't safe, but this is to help you understand that you have to stand in your personal power. And the minute that you decide for that to be the truth, the minute that you know that you have this personal inherent power, this is when there is an even bigger target on your back, because this is what they don't want. They don't want you to understand that you have the most power, because you do. And this has been their play for a very long time. So remember this, you hold the power, you hold the truth, and you are inherently the light. Be aware of the darkness masking in the light. But that's all for myself today, and I will let this dear soul share everything that I've been communicating with her. Thank you all for being here, and I'm watching every single one of you, and I'm grateful to be able to be in the position that I am, helping humanity in this way. But take care for now. And it's been difficult, everyone, because I feel like I've just been sat on the most amounts of information of this for the longest time, and I just wasn't able to share it. It just wasn't right for humanity to come to this understanding, for the collective to come to this understanding. But I know I'm not the only person that's been seeing this, but I think to the degree that I've been able to see exactly what's being playing out, I think that has been held back in certain spaces. And I wanted to be sure that I could share this now, and I'm being told that I can, but I want to say that the Vatican is a very, 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 very intensely dark space. And there is a lot of energy that runs through that entire grid that is incredibly connected to the vampiric entity, energy, expression. And there is a massive play for DNA manipulation that happens in the parameters of that understanding. And I want to say, if you know more about this, please do step forward and contact me, because I would love to speak to you. I feel like there are some out there that perhaps see things from a different perspective that we might be able to help each other moving forward behind the scenes. And I want to say to those that are doing research right now, you are completely on the right track, so keep going. Any bit of research that you do behind the scenes, please know that that truly helps the collective move forward. And if you're guided to those spaces, please know that you're supposed to be there. And you know, a lot of this path, I just thought, I didn't see any of this coming, but I've been such a curious soul the entirety of my life, and I was obsessed. I was absolutely obsessed with horror movies, and I now see why that was the case, because all of these monsters are real and true somewhere, and this is not something that they want us to believe, but also somewhere they want to try and create this narrative of having complete fear in our hearts. And I want to say, everyone, I've been absolutely flabbergasted behind the scenes of just how many darker beings, energies, and entities that look of a bad, negative shadow vibration that have been here for my highest good. And it's taken me a little while to come to terms with that, but this is definitely something that I see in esoteric spaces and esoteric practitioners, is that at a certain point in your journey, you start to see shadow and light as one and the same. And this is definitely a narrative that we've been pushing on the Light Renegades, and with purpose, everyone. I promise you, the veil is only thinning, and I'm starting to see just exactly where this playful darkness, this true darkness that wants to end humanity is coming from. And I promise you, there is light and shadow that is here for humanity's balance. There is light and shadow that is here to help humanity succeed. Right now, we are all, I've got full body shivers at this, we're all coming towards this expression of we're trying to save humanity at this time. And anything outside of that is in the parameters of, it's just not the main focus. And there is an understanding that is trying to be brought forward right now, is that to just not fear anything, because I promise you, you have the most amount of power. And there has been a lot that has been happening behind the scenes that I've not been sharing with the collective because I do not want to scare anyone. But I promise you, I have been face to face with gigantic beings, with beings that have teeth as big as my head, and they have come to me and they have tried to scare me. They have tried to halt me off this path. They have tried to tell me that, you know, they have the most power of me. They are this being, they are that being. They're going to end my life. They're going to end my family's life. And I've just been like, okay. I was like, if this is what you believe, do it. And it doesn't happen. And please know, this is not something that I've spoken about actually, because again, I didn't want to scare the collective, and I knew I was going to speak about it at some point, but I lost one of my skinny pigs a few weeks ago, and it was incredibly challenging for me because I knew that I lost him to spiritual warfare. And there were beings jumping in and out of this little soul's body. And this being, this energy, this entity that I consider to be my skinny pig was so much more than a skinny pig. They were a guide for me. They had been in many previous lives with me. And they decided to step forward and take the weight of something that I was having to battle at this time. And they stepped forward and said that they would be my skinny pig this lifetime. They stepped forward and said that they would be a guardian for me this lifetime. The bond that I had with this soul, with this entity, was like nothing I could experience. They always knew exactly what to be, how to be, and how to cheer me up in times when I needed it most. And they knew any time that I was crying, any time that I was upset, they would just come out and sit with me and lay with me. And the rest of that time, this little being was such a little tyrant. They would bully the other skinny pig. They would just like, they was more like a dog than a guinea pig, a skinny pig, to be specific. They were hairless. But they had such just a character that I just could never pin down. Anytime I tried to show them love, they didn't want it. But anytime that I needed love, they would so be there for me. And it wasn't until they passed that I truly understood. And in the moment that they passed, I felt this energy step behind me and put a hand on the back of my back. And they said their name, and I was told a long time ago who this being was and exactly who they were, and they were a guide to me, but it was so expansive that I couldn't even hold on to it. And it's something that Anna Maria joked about and said, I think these are perhaps a previous lovers from other lifetimes. And that's when this information came in, and it was the truth. I've known these souls for a real long time, and they passed, and they took the weight of what I was having to bear, the cross that I was having to bear this lifetime. And I watched this small being become incredibly skinny. They refused to eat, and they were just a shell of themselves. And I could see them fighting. I could see them fighting other energies inside themselves, and it was incredibly difficult to witness. And I think somewhere I just didn't want that to be the truth. And I just told myself that they'd gotten ill, but it was just so apparent to me exactly what was happening. And I want to say that, you know, these spiritual walls are real, but you also have the most amount of power. And whatever happens to you, it is happening for a reason. So if you know that you have lost people, if you know that you have been physically hurt by certain beings at certain points, it's been there for a reason. And you know what that reason is, I wouldn't know unless I'm speaking to you. But aside from that, you have the power. And if you don't have the power in a certain situation, it's with purpose. And that's incredibly challenging to understand. This goes across the board for a lot of things. And I think sometimes people think I'm heartless in the things that I say, but it's not true. I just see things from a very matter of fact, energetically speaking. So I know if you've gone through something that has been incredibly painful to you, it's been with purpose. And I have to look at that for my own personal journey too. And please know I have so much compassion in my heart, and there's so much self-compassion that I have to give myself. And I think that teams of light try and say to me often, you've been through a lot, it's okay to be confused, it's okay to be upset. And you know, I think sometimes I'm such a martyr in my spaces that it's difficult for me to sink into that space, because I've tried to get out of victimhood for a long time. But what I've been through has been a lot. I've lost a lot of things on this path and on this journey, and losing Coco, losing them because they immediately became a guide for me. But to watch that soul go through what I had to go through was it was really, really shocking and really eye-opening, and it broke my heart. It broke me into a million pieces, and I just thought, I'm never going to feel heartbreak like I felt like this again. And I'm grateful for that, because I was so incredibly connected to that soul, and they were so incredibly connected to a specific timeline, a specific life path that I've been connecting to this lifetime, that goes far beyond anything that I think I wish to share, because it's so personal at this time. But this soul is very much connecting to a previous life that has been just been the script of this lifetime moving forward, and it was ready for me to put that weight down. So I had to witness this soul just be demolished by demonic entities, and it was heartbreaking. All I could do was make sure that they were comfortable, that they were as in least pain as possible, but I had to witness them just become a shell of themselves and then pass. And it was a lot to contend with, to nurse this little thing, just in the most amounts of pain. But I'm grateful that I got to see and experience that, and to witness just what can happen in these battles, in these wars with energies and with entities. But I promise you, your personal power takes precedent over everything else. So know that I've witnessed this, I've experienced this. So to those that have been going through this themselves, I know, I understand, I see, but if you are still here, you are here for a reason. This means that your power is the most powerful thing that you have right now. So you have to believe that as your truth. You have to keep standing strong in your convictions. And this is not about fighting. I don't fight with these beings anymore. I wanted to. I spent a lot of path of this journey of these previous years fighting these beings in other realms and other spaces and other times, because I had to be there. I had to fight some of these beings that I created myself in previous lives as a whole. It could go on for, I don't even know how many chapters of the book this would take for me to try and explain to so many. But what I want to say is that your personal power is the most incredible power and the most powerful thing that you are in. What's the word evades me. You are in control of right now. So keep coming back to that truth. This is about your own personal power. This is about your own personal consciousness. And this is what it is. It's a war of consciousness right now. But there will be so much more on this in the times to come. I'm so incredibly grateful for Mr. C, for Calvin being here, because I know so much. And it's been incredibly eye-opening to see all this play out. So it's been no coincidence to me that I was obsessed with vampires for the entirety of this lifetime, because now I see it's such an integral part of this path moving forward. And I think that we might be in shock into what's to come and the play that is to come from the other side, because I think that you're all going to start to be able to see exactly what I'm seeing, and how this is playing out. And the Vatican plays a huge part in this. So I'm sat back right now. There is a lot of spaces where I'm incredibly connected to the Vatican and what is happening around the new Pope, that I'm not being told exactly what is happening, because if I knew, I'd change the fabric of the reality in that space. But I know that I'm there and I'm witnessing and I'm a part of that. And I think that what's to come is going to be the darkest that we've seen everything yet. Yet we are the lightest. So there is a balance there. There is a scale that is tipping in our favor. And the more of us that know how to transmute this dark energy into our own personal power, the more powerful we become. So do you see it now? The esoteric knowledge, this idea that you have your own personal power, has been kept from us because they don't want us to be in our power. And it's taken me some time to truly wrap my head around this. Everyone as well. I've been having to de-doctrinate myself. But now that I see and I understand it in terms of energy, it's very obvious to me. And it's made me more now than ever want to strive forward in understanding personal power, personal magic, the nature and current expression of magic, and what that means for us moving forward. And I'm here to, I want to say, to dismantle the darkest vibration that has been the corruption of magic, and to bring it back to the soul's inherent frequency and understanding of our own personal power, own personal signature, our own soul signature, and what that vibration means in connection to nature, and how this can help all of humanity moving forward. But I think I best stop there. There's been a lot of spewing of a lot of spaces, but it's difficult. This is why it's been so difficult for me to try and put this all into different categories and different spaces, and knowing where to share what, where, when, and how, because it's all just interconnected in so many spaces, and there is so much happening all at once in all vibrations. So I hope that this did make sense. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. And if you know something about all of this, I would love to speak to you. I would love to speak to someone else that is on the same understanding that I am, because I think it's going to be more important now than ever for community to come together. So please do not hesitate to reach out. But that's all for myself and Calvin today, but take care for now.